to recalibrate your views on business outsourcing. Let's welcome with us Mr. Michael Kochanik. He's the co-founder and CRO of NetFoundry, as well as Mr. Luigi Casas, Vice President and Corporate Relationship Management Head of PLDT Enterprise. Okay, gentlemen, it's been a long day, but it's been a very, very insightful day, and we are closing this off with, some questions from the floor here. Michael, a question for you. And I think you should, first agree with this or not. What is holding back the digitization of the BPO industry? And as a result, how are businesses being impacted? Do you agree that there is, a holding back that is occurring in the digitization of the BPO industry?
Actually, I don't think the BPO industry is unique in a macro sense from what's holding it back. I do think that there are some specific issues within the BPO industry that are unique, right? Regulatory and compliance concerns are much higher. The need to build full service end-to-end offerings. And lastly, really the need to collaborate with an building external group of stakeholders in the BPO arena. Those issues are unique to the industry, but ultimately it basically means that they have to embrace a need to address agility and velocity in their business and how they affect their digitalization goals, right? It's all about collaboration to a large degree. Collaboration is becoming a much increased part of the story. And connectedness, right? Whether we're talking about connectedness to remote workers, as we've been talking on this panel for pretty much the entire time, or connectedness to the stakeholders that you engage in, or connectedness in the ability to get to the applications that service your business, right? And in this kind of connectedness role, right? How do we address the ability to roll that out, not only from a technology perspective, right, edge, cloud. There are a lot of technologies out there that help us embrace the digitalization, but how do we do it and do it in a manner by which, the business can evolve in a stepwise, manner versus kind of a rip and replace type manner?
Thank you for that. You mentioned that it's not very different from all the macro issues that are affecting, adoption of digitization. But this goes micro for Luigi, this question. We've had a lot of solutions, presented to us, even in the first day of this DigiCon. Which should be prioritized for BPOs specifically? And do you have any industry-specific use case here?
I mean, all of them, right? But I think, kidding aside, I think it really depends on, number one, who you're talking to and where you are in that new ways of living strategy, right? So is your company currently prioritizing expansion, for example, and hiring and looking at keeping the work from home for the foreseeable future? Then we need to prioritize connectivity and employee engagement platforms, right? So making sure that your employees don't just have that reliable connectivity via fixed or wireless solutions, but also have that sense of belonging to the company, right? Especially if they're new, not being able to go into the office, right? And have that sense of the office feel and bring that into your home via platforms, right? But if you're looking to prioritize infrastructure overhaul or cost savings, then I think we should be prioritizing cloud and RPA. For cloud, for example, I think Kurt and Amit highlighted the importance of their cloud strategy and how it worked for them. And again, on our side, we've seen that significant increase in the adoption of cloud and how the advantages of being able to scale up or down anywhere at any time, right? RPA is no different, right? It's really identifying the mass simple tasks and automating them, which can lead to, again, significant savings and in turn, the possible upskilling of your people.
Okay, so in a perfect world, we would have all the funding to do all of that. As you mentioned, depending on what your priorities are, do you want your employees to be happier? Do you want them to upskill, or do you want to invest in the technology space? Great great ideas there, Luigi. Let's move on back to Michael. This is a very specific question as well to your company. What makes NetFoundry relevant to the BPO industry, given the market trends and cloud adoption, edge computing, and distributed applications?
Great question. As we've seen with COVID-19, right? Workers in the BPO industry have to have addressed very well, actually, working from anywhere. There's an analogous trend in application services, right? Where applications can run anywhere, right? They can run on any edge, any premise, any cloud, right? So NetFoundry, as the name implies, a place to build networks. We can add a massive level of agility to any enterprise in their ability to deploy networks on demand, deploy them in an agile and cost-effective way using a software as a service business model, as opposed to the traditional models of VPNs and MPLS circuits and things along those kind of CapEx routes, right? So at the end of the day, we're trying to make networks as agile as the software applications they support. We uniquely allow business process organizations to embed networking into the applications that run their businesses. Mm-hmm. So you can deploy those applications now with the exact same modern DevOps-oriented kinds of tools and methodologies that all of your applications are employing today. So really, it's all about the networks have to transform to support digitalization, right? I would argue that digital transformation is not possible without network transformation. Okay. And at the end of the day, you need a software approach to your networking problem space, because the agility and velocity by which you're addressing these issues just can't be done any other way. I mean, we all need to recognize that VPNs and other technologies have been around for 25 years, right? Right. And it's pretty much time for a change.
There you have it, time for a change. And I love this last question, Luigi. You're closing off the day, and this question from the floor is very, very specific. What is PLDT doing? And you better answer this well, because they're going to be citing you on this. What is PLDT doing in terms of ensuring reliable internet connection, right, for your customers and to improve the overall customer experience? I mean, it's a tall order, of course, especially in pandemic. You've got all of these solutions in front of you. You've got all of this technology, but we need reliable internet.
Yeah, no, I agree. And taking a page from our president, Al Panilio, it's really all about putting the customer in the center of everything that we do, right? So I think for improving CX and connectivity, number one is really the fiber rollout, right? It's getting rid of those old legacy systems and those copper systems, and really migrating to fiber. And I think we're at around 600,000 migrations today, and we have no plans of slowing down. On the wireless side, it's really converting 4G to become 100% nationwide. We're at 96%, and then getting ready for 5G, right? And looking forward to leveraging the 5G wireless data solutions, which should be released by the end of this year. Mm-hmm. We're also doing a lot, again, as you mentioned, on the international side, which will really benefit the domestic side and make, again, the Philippines the go-to destination for the BPO. Lastly, we're also looking at exploring those omni-channel solutions for our customers, right? So self-service platforms, self-service portals to speed up inquiry management on downtime, tracking your order versus the traditional IVR or hotline.
Thank you for that. So more than ever, time to please the customer here. Time to really, really say, okay, no more excuses. Whatever you need, we're going to have to roll out. There's no better time than now.
100%.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for closing off this session. That was, of course, Mr. Michael Kochanek of NetFoundry and Mr. Luigi Casas of PLDT.